Hello and welcome back everyone, I'm Day-Glo Buffalo and this is Let's Play Leather Goddesses of Phobos. When we last left off, we were in space, facing off against an assassin of the Leather Goddesses of Phobos named Thorbast, who apparently likes to eat a whole bunch of garlic. Now, you might notice that there's actually an additional move now on screen compared to where we left off the last time, if anybody is actually reading along with all this. Thing was, I had started recording this part, I had done my first move, but then I noticed that there was something wrong with the recording, and so I had to stop and restart. Fortunately, nothing all too exciting happened, and it's still on screen, so we can just move right along. So what we did was attack Thorbast with the sword. A mighty swing, but Thorbast easily dodges in this light gravity. The alien monstrosity reaches the young woman, and its tentacles begin undulating towards her clothing. Of course, her clothing. What else would they undulate towards? It's that kind of game, after all. You fend off a volley of powerful blows, leaving you dizzy. Well, let's again attack Thorbast. Your sword misses Thorbast by inches. The monster begins to undress the poor young woman, who begins to shriek in terror. Thorbast feints backwards and then launches a blow straight at your neck. Moving with speed rarely associated with anything besides self-preservation, you parry, knocking the sword out of Thorbast's hands. It drifts towards you, spinning slowly. Well, let's just take the sword then. Taken! The monster continues to undress the poor young woman, who continues to shriek in terror. Thorbast eyes you warily. Well, this is wrong. I mean, we're dueling with Thorbast, and suddenly we're holding a sword. That's not very fair of us. So, let's give a sword back to Thorbast. As Thorbast accepts the sword, he realizes that such a gesture is the final proof that you are the good guy, and therefore he hasn't got a chance of winning. Being a practical person, Thorbast saves both of you a lot of time and aggravation by gorging himself on his own blade. Spewing droplets of blood, his body drifts away into the blackness of space. The monster continues to undress the poor young woman, who continues to shriek in terror. Well, how about that? This also took me a long time to figure out. Actually, I had to look at the hint book for this because I was completely stumped. I'd gotten to the part where you actually have his sword, and I was trying to attack him with both swords in some way, but that always ends up with him evading you and in some way getting a sword back, and you just start over, and after not too long, the monster carries off the young woman, and the game becomes unwinnable. So I was really stumped and had to look it up. So anyway, we have dispatched with Thorbast, so let's attack monster with sword. The tree monster squawks and flees, proving that its bark is worse than its bite. Bark, get it? Because it's a tree monster. Okay, so since we are the good guy, let's untie the woman. You untie the young woman, who, beckoning you to follow, enters the small passenger spaceship. So let's follow her. Space yacht. This is the main cabin of a fashionable passenger ship, with exits to the east and south. You can see a young woman here. The young woman turns to you. I'm called Elysia. My father is the wealthiest man in the system. You will be grandly rewarded for saving me from that horrid kidnapper. She grabs a photo off the wall, scribbles on the back of it, and hands it to you. Here is father's address. See him the next time you get on Ganymede, and you will be handsomely repaid. But now I must retire to my cabin to recover from this hideous ordeal. She curtsies a bit unsteadily and exits to the east, closing the door behind her. So let's look at the photo. It is a photo of Jean Harlow with a writing on the back, Elysia's daddy. The big house with all the windows, Ganymede. Oh, well, that certainly narrows it down. Well, we've done all we can in this room. Well, we've gotten the photo of Jean Harlow, which is another thing that we need for our machine, so why not go to the east and see what Elysia's up to. You have to open the door first. Let's open the door. Door swings open. Private cabin. You have entered a plush sleeping cabin. The young woman is standing in the center of the cabin, clutching her clothes, looking shocked to see you. How dare you come here without knocking? I am to be allowed no privacy at all? Will my horror never end? Will? She trails off as the multiple shocks of the day set in, begins sobbing. Moved, you take her in your arms. One thing leads to another. Much, much later, making sure that Elysia is sleeping peacefully, you tiptoe out of the cabin, closing the door. Space yacht. So we just got space lucky. Anyway, that's all we can do on the space yacht, so we can go back into space and into the main battleship. See a stallion here. You hear panting as Trent dashes up behind you, somewhat out of breath. Good, you're still here. Thank God that time traveler who wandered by the hold had a matter reconstitutor. Well, since we're already here, or actually since Trent is already here, we can give the photo to Trent. Eagerly, Trent accepts the photo of Jean Harlow. Do you have anything else to give to him? Sword, white suit, wicker basket, rule book, and brass loincloth. Wicker basket contains blanket, matchbook, odd machine, coin, canvas sack. It seems that the canvas sack contains a jar of untangling cream. Nope. Nothing else to give him. So let's get on horse. You're now on the stallion. Trent gets on behind you and ride back east. And we're back in the stable. Let's get off the horse. You and Trent dismount. Let's go west. Long corridor. You're partway along an east-west hall of mind-numbing length. Rings of light pulsate along the corridor in rhythm with the ship's throbbing engines. Opening leads east and northeast. Trent loyally stays at your side. Well, northeast leads us back to the hold. So let's go west. You're partway along the corridor, blah, blah, blah. You're partway along the corridor, but now, ship engine, a tiny alcove contains a black circle, which is very useful for us. So let's stand in circle. Yow! You appear in midair, high above the canal-studded desertscape. The ground is approaching uncomfortably fast. Caw! Caw! A pterodactyl snatches you and Trent in midair and deposits you safely in Oasis. A little bunny rabbit is here that we already ignored last time. But now we can do something else. So let's go west to the Martian desert. And northwest to yet another ruin. And west again to the Martian desert. North to the ruin and north to the throne room. Now, as we've heard before, King Mitre had a wish come true that everything he touched would turn into 45-degree angles, apparently because of a sexual fetish. And he ended up turning his own daughter into a 45-degree angle. So, obviously, we want to help King Mitre. Since we need an 82-degree angle, if I remember correctly, it's 82. And, well, this is a place that has a lot of angles. This might actually be a good place to do stuff and to help King Mitre. Maybe he can help us get our angle. So what can we do to help him? Well, usually or in this case, the best thing we could do is help his daughter, who has been turned into an angle. 45-degree angle like everything else that Mitre touched. Now, what we have in our inventory is a jar of untangling cream and a machine that is called a T remover. What happens if we remove a T from untangling cream? It becomes unangling cream. So let's open the machine. Put jar in the machine. Close machine, of course. Turn on machine. Sparks, explosion, pakida, 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 peep! Or feep, actually, explains the machine. Open machine. Opening the odd machine reveals a jar of an angling cream. That is very useful. Take jar, especially if you want to unangle a princess. Take jar. Let's close the machine because we're anal that way. And let's pour unangling cream on princess. As the lotion soaks in, the angle slowly transforms into a beautiful princess. Mitre, gushing tears of happiness, cries, "You have restored my beloved Theta to me." He reveals a perfect 82-degree angle. "I only brushed against it," explains the king. "Please accept it, along with my thanks." He reaches out to shake your hand. Of course, we're not that dumb to shake his hand, because then we turn ourselves into a 45-degree angle, which is of no good to anybody. So let's take the 82-degree angle and give angle to Trent for safekeeping. I don't feel like talking. I'm too happy. I thought maybe we can ask him about the angles and what that was all about. All right, so, well, we've gotten another part of our machine, so we can move on. As you leave, you hear behind you a sound like a 45-degree angle landing on a pile of 45-degree angles. "Oh, damn, not again," you hear Mitre moan. Royal Docks, a large handcrafted... Oh, a barge, not a large. A barge handcrafted from fine marsh and cedar wood is moored at the end of the dock. Trent trails along. So now we can get in the barge. You're now in the royal barge. Trent gets in behind you. You notice some simple controls. Look at controls. The controls consist of a huge orange button and a huge purple button. Both buttons have writing on them. Look at purple button. The huge purple button reads, "Go with the flow." If we press the purple button, the writing on the purple button on the button changes as you press it. Read purple button. The huge purple button now reads full speed ahead. So that will actually come in, become useful later. For now, it's better to just go with the flow, so we don't miss anything. So let's look at the orange button. I don't need the title. Huge orange button reads Magnetomore on. So if you press the orange button, the writing on the button changes as you press it. The barge slides away from the dock into the deeper waters of the canal. Martian Canal and the Royal Barge. The Royal Barge rocks gently in the current of the wide canal. A dock is visible on the southern shore, which is where we just left off. So let's read the orange button just for completeness sake, because we have nothing else to do. The huge orange button now reads Magnetomore off. The Royal Barge drifts further down the canal, because now we basically have to wait as we drift down the canal until we get to someplace useful. Royal Barge rock gently. We've already seen that. So let's wait again. The Royal Barge rocks gently in the current of the White Canal. The banks of the canal are steep and sandy. Dark clouds of the sandstorm are visible on the horizon. Let's wait again. Blah, blah, blah. The Royal Barge rocks gently in the current of the White Canal. Banks steep and sandy. Sculpted reddish sand dunes rise into view beyond the banks of the canal. The Royal Barge rocks gently in the current of the White Canal. The banks of the canal are steep and sandy. A smaller canal flows diagonally into this one, and the channel widens slightly to accommodate the heavier flow. Sculpted reddish sand dunes rise into view beyond the banks of the canal. The dark clouds of a sandstorm are visible on the horizon. Again, nothing interesting. Martian Canal, Royal Barge, rocks gently, dock is visible on northern shore. So let's press orange. We don't need the right button. Running on a button changes as you press it. The barge drifts towards the dock on the northern shore, biting against it with a loud clank. Baby dock. In the Royal Barge. This tiny dock, partly buried by drifting sand, extends south into the canal. A break in the sand forms a trail to the north. So let's get out of barge. You and Trent get out of the Royal Barge. And guess we're out of time. So for now, I'll just thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next part. So until then, have a good one.